everybody, it is Nick from Rosa Beauty. Will apologise before I actually get straight into this video that I am currently not well, so if you hear me heavy breathing or coughing, it's because I'm really not well. So I decided to do a little brief explanation, step by step, in the nicest way possible, of Forky from Toy Story 4 on a nail art on an actual tip. So you can see I'm putting an application of gel polish on. This is the range from Candy Coats, so I do recommend that you do use a base coat either on any kind of extensions. Have had previous experience where it does peel altogether. So popping 2 coats on after the base coat, 15 seconds in the lamp. Again, I do have a really strong lamp, it's 54 watts. If you do have anything less than 54 watts, I would definitely say 30 seconds to a minute, especially in for LED or UV. So once that's gone in, I'm going to do a different technique. This was off Kirsty Meakin's channel of Nail Nails because I'm such a lover of products. Everybody knows that's all I basically use. So mixed together is white which is Snow White and no wipe off top coat. I'm making it very transparent, and this is just to get the effect. White's the most easiest way. Now the solution that you use for this is gel residue wipe off solution, or your like non-slip solution for your aqua gel, soap, dishwash soap and water. Shake it up in a bottle and shake it onto it. What it does is that the gel residue wipe solution in the soap actually creates the, what do we call? I would call it a coral effect, to be honest, because it does look like coral when you'll see it in a minute. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's really nice. And then what you do is that you put it into the lamp for at least 60 seconds because it has that top coat in it, and that's what makes it cure. And you'll see now that there is like a bubbly effect on it. Might do another video just on this alone, just to obviously like show people, so then it's like pretty easy to do. There is other techniques altogether. So what I'm doing now is I've put 2 layers of top coat on. The reason for this is that because I'm doing nail art and I'm using gel, I need it to be smooth, and what I need to do too is make sure that there is no bumps or anything like that for when I do the nail art. So once it's been in the lamp, and I pull it out at some point, Nicola, what I usually do is get like a buffer block, or I use a 240 block from NSI, which I absolutely love, the padded ones, and all I basically do is just like buff off the top coat, making sure it's porous now, that the gel polish will attach to it. So using Forky as my lovely model, shall we say, on my nail, the colours that I go for are white, blue, red and grey and black. So what I'm going to start doing with a very fine detail brush is the outlining altogether of Forky's head. I think at some point I actually might have wiped this off and started again because I wasn't too happy with it. I think I only gave him 3 forks instead of... I did. How far did it? I gave him 3 forks instead of 4. Because that's what it said in the picture. But I'm 100% sure that Sparks in the UK only have 3 on them. Somebody tell me below. I am 100% sure that in the UK we only have 3. But I might be wrong. So please comment below and let me know. So what I'm currently doing is getting the shape of Forky all together. Getting his like forks sharpened, we'll say, filling it in briefly just so then it doesn't actually separate, because I do find that when I do it with gel, that when you do an outline it's fine, but then when you start filling it in after curing it looks funny. So strange. So after doing his head, I've then done his little body, we could say, and then I'm just cured it again for 10 seconds, just flash curing it, and then just going in again with the white and just filling in the sections. And I think I do this about 3 times just to make sure that it is basically opaque, and I'm happy with the results. So again, like I said, I go back in with the white. Just have heavy breathing. I'm not got any tonsils anymore, and everything over chest. I've got chest infection and sort of throat infection again. So I'm really sorry. So what I'm doing again is obviously going back in with white, just making sure that I'm 100% happy. And then what I'm doing now is that while the white's still wet at the bottom, I'm going in with the grey. The reason I'm going in with the grey is to create a bit of like a shadowing where the light bounces. Now, I am going to say one thing. It doesn't always work out as planned, especially with gel. If you use not aquagel, start again. If you do use acrylic paint, you can get it down to a transparent, like water effect, and basically give it a very fading shadow. Where with gel, I do find that a lot of the time I use my finger and tap through and things like that, and it does actually really work. Like, I love doing a lot of my nail art with gel. I think the pigmentation and the colours is nicer. With aquagel, again, with acrylic paints, you find a lot of the time that it dries out on your brush, and you've just got so much time. And my previous brush actually got ruined for this, so I was really annoyed that I was like, right, that's me not going back to acrylic paint no more. So again, once I've done the shadowing, I've done it on his body, and I've actually created like an eye socket too with his shadowing. Pop it back into the lamp for 10 seconds, flash, and then I'm going back in with the white over the grey to create his actual googly eyes. I always think of googly eyes. There used to be like a programme on like CBBC about like googly eye things. They didn't speak or anything, they all just like killed each other, and they were like fruits and that. Sounds like wrong advertisement, but that's all I remember with googly eyes. So then I'm going in with the black, and I'm giving him his little eyes. Now, the one thing I do really love about this is that, especially because he's got googly eyes, they don't have to be perfect. Obviously, because his eyes look like falls off halfway through the movie. So I found out like you can literally place them in any kind of place and it still looks really good, because you know the character has these really daft eyes. Now, we'll apologise in advance when we do get to his like monobrow. I'm using my little like fingers for like the apostrophe thing. He does look a bit angry, but I think that's because I already filmed this earlier on today, and then within 10 minutes of filming it, after like half an hour, I deleted it because I'm a donut. I cried and I was like so angry with myself. So I was like, belting. So as you can see, I'm just in the process now of putting his, what do we call his arms and monobrow on with the red. I'm using I can't remember, I'm sure it's like Scarlet Red from the Urban Graffiti. All the polishes I do use are either Urban Graffiti or gel candy coats. Pigmentation's on them really good, especially the old fashioned candy coats. Formula. My mind just keeps going blank. So after doing his hands, which is like the fabric tube wiring, which I always remember as kids like having them when we was at like school. Like I go over once with it, and then I go over a couple of times with the red just to define it, because of the white from the bubbling effect. I do feel like you'd lose a bit of it because you can see like the white dottly bits coming through. It can be effective. I could have left it, but I was like, I really want his hands to like stand out because he looks like he's losing the will to live. I was tempted after finishing him off, I was going to take his mouth off, but I didn't. But I might do. So what I'm going in with now is back with the grey. What I'm doing with the grey is just creating some highlights again with the shadowing and just briefly using it on certain sections. And then popping that back into the lamp. So I have this thing about cleaning my brush with my fingers instead of using a pad. But I do that because every time I put it on like a pad, I feel like my bristles get stuck in like different directions. So I am now going in to do his mouth. So I used the blue from the Urban Graffiti. We'll put all the numbers underneath, and if it goes on YouTube. And you basically just create it to whatever shade that you want, really. And then pop it back into the lamp. The good thing about Forky is that because of his face, you can do anything with it. You can do any kind of facial expression that you want. I actually really enjoyed doing him. And I'm like going to go through like a lot of the Toy Story 4 characters, and I'm definitely going to do Mr. Pickle Pants because we call my mum Mrs. Hedgehog because she's got grey hair and she's spiky and short, and she dressed up as a hedgehog a couple of years ago and she looked really cute. So I am definitely going to do Mr. Pickle Pants. So I highlighted him again with the blue, popped him into the lamp for the final time, and then finished him off with top coat. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video. Apologise for being ill. Like, subscribe, comment below, let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.